Hello and welcome to this very exclusive global web chat with the cast and filmmakers of Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. I'm Alex Zane. Thank you, first of all, for all the questions. We've had literally hundreds of questions that have come in from you guys, and we're going to be going through as many as we can. Let me introduce, we're very lucky to have them here today. First of all, the director of the film, Mr. Mike Newell, the screenwriter and creator of the original video game, it's Jordan Mechner, Sir Ben Kingsley, Gemma Arterton, Jake Gyllenhaal, and of course the film's producer, Mr. Jerry Bruckheimer. Guys, welcome, welcome. It's very exciting to have you all here. Thank you for coming. We have, like I say, literally, it's a pleasure.
Sorry, I'm a bit slow.
He's always been like that. I mean...
It is very good to have you here, though. Thank you for coming. Hundreds of questions have come in.
He's on a delay. It's just we're on the internet, so it's just.
I think I have a time zone problem here. Sorry.
Are you going to do
Can somebody reboot, Ben?
Jake, have you got the dagger of time?
Will you let him alone? Will you let him alone? Sorry. He looks so
I'm already starting to cross out some questions. We're not going to get to David from Paris's question. We'll start at the very beginning then with a question for you, Mr. Gyllenhaal, from Marcelo Fulani in Brazil has sent this one in. This is your first real big blockbuster. Marcelo says he's not counting the day after tomorrow for some reason. We can assume this wasn't your first invitation to the genre. What was different about this project that made you accept it?
Oh God, I think it was all about timing. I think a sense of it was just coming to a place in my life where I felt like I didn't need to take myself so seriously, nor did I want to. And then the other...
Why is everybody laughing?
Not yet, Ben, you're not...
Sorry.
Not taking myself so seriously, and at the same time also just, you know, all the elements of the movie were so extraordinary that it was really hard to pass up. And, you know, it just seemed like a good, fun, enormously huge time.
I guess that's a good question for everyone as well. I mean, was it a lot of fun making this film?
Why is Jake talking in that weird American accent?
Yeah. You never spoke
To
like that
answer
when
your
we were
question
making
properly, will you please, a little discipline here.
We're being told.
Yeah, it was. I mean, for me, and I was going to have, if anybody was going to have a hard time, I was going to have a hard time. I had an absolute, I loved it. I really enjoyed myself. Weird, but I did.
You can tell he's the only adult in the group.
This has come in from Rebecca in Berlin, Germany, of course, and this is for you, Jordan. I always like the aspect of the nameless prince in the game. Why did you choose to rename him, and how did you come up with the name Dastan in film?
Well, the prince, of course, in all the video games never had a name. And that was because he was a stranger coming to a place where nobody knew him. In this movie, you know, it's almost like a Shakespearean family drama in that he's got brothers, he's got an uncle and a father. It would have been really weird to go through the whole movie, you know, with everyone finding reasons not to refer to him by his name. So of course he needed a name, and the name Dastan came from the Shahnameh, this Persian book of kings. And it means trickster, which is, of course, the archetype of the kind of character that the Prince of Persia has always been.
Doesn't it? I heard today also that it meant two hands. Someone told me today that it also could mean...
Really?
Yeah, two hands. I just thought was an interesting thing, in particular
We
because he does parkour.
we had a couple of Persian girls in, didn't
Yes,
we?
we
And
did.
Yes,
they will have known that, yeah.
That's what they said. They said it meant two hands, and I thought, you know, a lot of the things that you do in parkour is that you have to grab with two hands, obviously. and I just thought it was interesting.
You know, Dastan also means story. It's like a legendary story of heroes. It's pronounced with a different vowel, but you know, that's also appropriate.
Now, as we obviously know, the film is inspired by a computer game. Marcela in Madrid, Spain, said to you, Mike, how did you manage to maintain the magic and originality of the game with the film?
Well, I managed to do that because... I'm confused. Should I be looking at you or should I be looking at that?
Well, we have an audience of millions.
What would you like, love?
This camera here is hello.
Okay.
Around the
Well,
world.
look, one of the things that was very important to me was that I didn't realize when I came on that that it was a game. And I was hopeless at it. I can barely send an email. And I went immediately in a panic to Jerry and said, Jerry, is it the game? Do you want the game? Do you want the game? And he said, cool down, let's calm down. Do what you think you can do. Now, I think the game was, in fact, very important to Jerry, but also he knew how to handle me. And And so what I did was, unable to play the game as I was, I brought my assistants in. They all played the game for me, and we cherry-picked it. You know, we just cherry-picked it. If it was left to me, he would fall into the revolving knives all the time.
This is coming from Albert in Brazil, and it's for you, Sir Ben, and it seems appropriate right now. Have you played the Prince of Persia video game, and had you played it before accepting the role?
No, I'm very video game ignorant, I'm afraid. Since being in this great film with these lovely guys, I am now a voice in a video game, so I'm entering into that culture with glee. But it was such a beautiful script that you didn't really need to refer to anything. Of course, you know, you realised it was part of a bigger picture, a bigger culture. But I loved the script. It bounced straight off the page. And I hear that Nizam means order, so that's a kind of control freak. Am I right? Does it mean order? One of the Persian women said it means order.
Yeah, it means order. It means order,
Beautiful.
Ben, yes.
Something we don't have in this room.
Gemma now, this is from the rather fantastically named Steve Bandit, Eliso, and he says, will you be starring in more big action films like Prince of Persia and Clash of the Titans?
I hope so. I hope so. You know, it was fun. I never expected that I'd be in these sort of movies, and you know, I always thought I'd do theatre and tiny little films, and even though I do love those things as well, and I hope to do those too, this is it's an adventure in itself, and it's really good to be involved in something that's, you know, the top, you know, the top end, and this film in particular is like the archetypal, the top end of Hollywood filmmaking, and what I always imagined Hollywood films would be like, and so yeah, I hope so.
In terms of that, I guess, is it more fun, and this is specifically for the cast, is it more fun making a movie of this scale than making a smaller film, or is it more difficult as well?
I think each movie has its own, you know, pros and cons, and yeah, you have more to play with in terms of things around you. There's more time. Making a smaller movie doesn't necessarily mean that you have all of those things, but sometimes that's quite freeing as well. So yeah, I mean.
But really, it's just different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
But
just
I think
completely different.
I mean, we've all done, all of us have done little movies and big movies, and simply it takes a different set of tools.
It depends on your definition of fun, is what I would say.
What would your definition of fun be with regard to this film?
Well, I would say that I think that it's, you know, to me it's like when I think about going to the movies with my family and being a kid, and what I thought was fun, you know, that making this movie was that kind of fun. You know, it was like what you would love to do if you were an 8-year-old kid, you know, jumping around, fighting the bad guys. You know, for me personally, it was like awakening the inner kid inside me again, and that it's fun in that way. Now I can have fun in other ways too, but you know, that's like to me what this was great.
We're not going to ask you what those other fun
We'll leave you with that.
We'll keep order. We'll keep order.
Jerry, this is coming from Nick in Ireland, and he says, this being a project that you're producing through Disney, the comparisons between Prince of Persia and Pirates of the Caribbean are inevitable. Can you compare both movies in any aspect?
Well, they're both fantasy, so you can compare that, but that's about it. You know, I mean, they're two completely different movies. You know, when you have a pirate adventure that takes place in the 1700s, and then you have a picture that takes place in 600, it's a completely different. I mean, we use actors, so I guess that's the same.
In terms of this is back to you, Jay. I mean, having seen the film yesterday, it is a stunt-heavy film, and Paolo in Argentina says, how many of your own stunts did you do by yourself?
Well, the one thing about a stunt is you never do it by yourself. That's for sure. There are hundreds of people around all the time making sure that you do it and that you're safe, or at least partially safe. So I wouldn't say I ever do a stunt alone, but
partially safe.
Did you not do any on your own when you got home, you know, when nobody else was around? Just to practice?
I got home and I missed all of you so much. I just started jumping out the roof of my house.